and who always tells us those great stories. Some Irish, some not. And so here's Reverend Jan Limberg Morgan. Come on up, Jan.
Someone else tells better stories than I do. May something that I say this morning find a place in your heart, that it may go with you and enrich your life this week. How many people here remember Irma Bombach? Oh, good, I'm not alone. She was a 20th century newspaper journalist, famous for her humor. She wrote 15 books, most of them bestsellers, over 4,000 newspaper columns, which were published in major newspapers and a number of magazines. And she frequently seasoned her humor with pinches of wisdom. On March 10th, 1987, Irma ended her column with this: "I always had a dream that I might be asked to give an accounting of my life to a higher court. And it will go like this. So, empty your pockets. What have you got left of your life? Any dreams that were unfulfilled? Any unused talents that we gave you, that you were born with and still have left? Any unsaid compliments or bits of love that you haven't spread around?" And I will answer, "I have nothing to return. I spent everything you gave me. I'm as naked as the day I was born." She would agree, I think, that what we choose to do with the talent we're given is all that really matters. Do we still have some encouragement that we haven't spread around? Do we have abilities that we haven't used up? Do we still have some bits of love to give away? If we were asked to empty our pockets, would we find them half full? Or would we discover that we have joyfully spent everything we were given? So how can we live our lives so that we have empty pockets when this life experience is over? We can choose what I call the 7-ups. And the first of the 7-ups is wake up. When we awaken to the spiritual truth that God, the universal intelligence, the infinite creator, is above and around and through all things, we can step out of our self-imposed hiding places and see our life experiences as opportunities to expand our perceptions. Whoa, expanding, that gets scary, doesn't it? Who we really are. And as we move into this, we recognize that we are beings who by our very existence allow the divine to experience all it has created. That is how the divine experiences what it has created, through us and other things beyond us. And as we wake up physically, we can choose to have a good day. We can choose to have a good day. You know, maybe it'll take some affirmation, but we can choose. Or we can make a conscious decision to refocus our vision on all that's right with life. Physically, spiritually, we can awaken to the beauty in every aspect of life. Number 2 is dress up. The best way to dress up is to put on a smile. Why shouldn't we smile? Why shouldn't we? We're spiritual beings having a human experience, having the time of our lives. We can choose to recognize the inherent blessings and express deep gratitude for all of it. I loved the fact that the daily word today was gratitude, because gratitude is my focus word. It's sort of the word from which everything else springs for me. Gratitude illuminates us from the inside out. And a smile is the most effective way to dress up our outer appearance. And best of all, it's free. And it's good for us. You know, they always tell us that our consciousness changes when we smile. We can't help but lift. It's like the corners of our mouth pull up the rest of us. Okay, number 3, hush up. We've been given 2 ears and 1 mouth. God must have meant for us to do twice as much listening as talking. We also hear that still small voice of spirit within, those intuitive nudges, the guidance that moves us through this life experience when we are not talking, when we are in that quiet mode. You know, sometimes we really struggle with the appearances of life around us. It ain't looking good. When we hush up, we can listen and we can meditate on the truths that come through in the silence. And you know, we can hush up when we're not actually speaking. Hushing up is quietening that voice that nags and niggles at us and saying, thank you. Thank you for sharing. You may leave now. Because I'm going to turn within. We can perceive the rightness and the purpose of all things when we're hushed up. And when we hush up, we resist speaking the first thing that comes into our heads. And sometimes that's a very good thing. In Proverbs 13:3, we're told, he who guards his lips guards his soul. And I believe that this means that when we do speak, we're clear and truthful with our speech, and we stay in integrity. Number 4, stand up. Take a stand for what you believe in. Powerful people have strong convictions in their beliefs. When we're clear with what we stand for, that conviction will carry us through the roughest of times, and it helps move us through our fears. Philippians 4:13 tells us, I can do everything through Christ who strengthens me. The Christ light and strength within us is our guard and our guide. So let's stand for divine love, divine light, and divine truth. Number 5, look up. In New Thought, we interpret the word Lord as being an aspect of the divine we call law. What is the law? It's the creative medium through which spirit works. We can cooperate with the law by planting it only seeds which are in harmony with our divine nature, planting in it only seeds that are in harmony with our divine nature. We can cooperate with the law, and the law will create an equivalent form to the thought that we place out there, to what we affirm with conviction. I had a funny little experience the other day. I was looking at my garden, and somehow at this point in my life, gardening isn't such a big deal. Not that I have a big garden, it's mainly pots, but I was feeling like this doesn't look too good. I'm not very proud of it. And I just let it go. The very next day, the man who is my son's gardener, I live on the same property, came down and spent a couple of hours cleaning up my area. I hadn't even asked him, but I had asked the law. I had put it out there. This is something I really want. And I didn't even know he was out there doing this to my little piece of the land. The law will listen to us when we speak to it. If what I see isn't what I want, like my little garden, I must look at what I really believe. If I affirm that I never have enough time, money, whatever, the law says, yes, we can arrange that. When I truly believe that all can and will be accomplished in perfect order, or that there is always enough of what I need, it sounds miraculous, but I will appear to accumulate more time to do, or more money to spend, more energy to do whatever it is I have put out there. That can also work in the other direction. We can put out there, there's not enough money to finish this, and it'll strangely unfinished. Have you ever had I couldn't finish that project because I didn't have enough money. And it sort of falls by the wayside until you change your mind and say, maybe I can find enough money to finish that. There is. Somewhere out there, there's a way to finish this. And here we go. Somehow it gets finished, like an arrow coming down to my garden and doing what I put out there. Number 6, reach up. Keep stretching and growing. Be willing to be greater than we were yesterday. Remember, we're here to embrace and to become. That's the gift we are to this planet. We don't have to take huge strides outside of our comfort zone to grow. We can reach out to another. We can expand our compassionate boundaries or our serving boundaries. And that will stretch us to be more of what we're meant to be. And number 7, lift up. Through regular prayer, we can elevate ourselves to higher and higher planes of consciousness. Conscious connection with the one and only source. The master teacher gave us profound examples of the power of prayer and of meditation. I often hear people say, I don't have time to meditate. We don't have enough time to not meditate. We simply have got. We will. There must be time to meditate if we are going to feed and fill and enrich ourselves. It doesn't mean you have to spend hours on one of those cushions with your legs crossed. It means that we place our minds on spirit, on the God, the good in all things. And we see life through the lens of it's all God. It's all good. I've been seeing, I live under the oaks, by the way, so one of my walls of my home looks straight at the trunks of the oak trees, and they spread over the top of my little house. And there's a little grayish-brown bird with lots of yellow stripes on its head. My son's a bird guy. I need to ask him what it is. And I stand in the window and I can watch this little thing. And it's so tiny, and it's the same color as the oak trunks, that all I can see are the little yellow stripes popping around on the trunk of the tree. And I'm awestruck. That's meditation. I am meditating on the beauty of this little creature. I can't walk up the trunk of a tree, not that I know of. And at this point in my life, I don't think I'm going to start trying. But that little bird, and I am literally in awe, meditating, watching, giving praise for what that little tiny creature can do. It fills this. I know in the past I've asked you to be a light, the light of love, of peace, of unity in your lives and in the lives of others. And this is the story of a woman who proved that one person can do this, and that one person does matter. In 1846, Tabitha Brown joined one of the wagon trains of adventurers who were seeking a new life in America's West. She was known as Grandma Brown, and she was affectionately called that by the other wagoneers. She was 62 years old, 5 feet tall, weighed all of 108 pounds when she was well fed. But she was partly paralyzed, and she leaned on a cane and walked with a limp. Along the way, she showed great courage and stamina. And as she crossed the Great Plains and the Rocky Mountains, she nursed those that became sick in the wagon train. At one point, she nearly starved herself after the caravan's cattle were rustled off by the Rogue River Indians. But once they settled in Oregon, she started one of the first schools in that part of the country. It was for all people, both rich and poor. The poor attended free. Those who could afford it paid $1 a week for tuition and board. As long as she was able, she worked to keep the institution alive. She attended to the students. She convinced would-be faculty of the need for teachers at the school. And many days found her in the kitchen, hobbling about on her lame leg, kneading and baking the necessary daily bread. One person can make a difference. Because in 1869, the Oregon Territorial Legislature granted this little school a charter as a Tualatin Academy. And today, 156 years later, it's known as the Pacific University. Yes. There's a wonderful law of nature that the 3 things we crave most in life: happiness, freedom, and peace of mind are always attained by giving them to someone else. When we make the choice to live in harmony with this law, what we give away becomes our own experience. So how do we make sure that our pockets are empty when the time comes? We choose to give it away. By the way, the title of this talk was, I choose, therefore I will. And I choose to give it away. Love, peace, and truth. And in the process, we become all that we were placed here to be. Namaste.